So, hi, I'm Michelle Cochran, and welcome to the latest in my series of self-care conversations. Today, we're talking with the beautiful Angie Liu from Pineri Wellbeing, and we're talking about Qi Gong. And you know, I always get so nervous before all these conversations, and I really shouldn't because I know I'm just talking to friends out here. But I was thinking that Qigong is actually a really good practice for centering and grounding and calming the nerves. So it's really relevant for me right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Qigong is a wonderful grounding practice, and um, in the lives that we live now, we are so busy that we're often running from place to place, and it's almost like what we describe in Chinese medicine, something called yang fire. And so we're doing things, we've got to-do lists, we're making breakfast, running out the door, getting our family ready, and we even have to schedule time in to sort of slow down or to even exercise. And all this energy in the head. And what Qigong does is it helps you to sort of ground you back down to the earth. And it's almost like, you know, when you're walking out on the grass barefoot and it's just rained and there's this beautiful cooling energy, like, you know, it's just so fresh to sort of put your feet on the earth. And then you start to notice that, you know, your breath starts to slow down and you start to feel better because you've just taken this moment to just go, oh, right.
Beautiful.
I can do this again. Yeah.
So just briefly for people that aren't quite sure, can you just describe what Qigong is, and also how does it differ from Tai Chi? Because I'm sure I'm not the only person that confuses the two.
Yeah. Look, it's Qigong, and I guess the easiest way to describe Qigong and Tai Chi is that they actually are sisters. They're very close relatives to each other. And in fact, Tai Chi is a form of Qigong. So with Qigong, you know, it's actually made up of two wonderful words, Qi and Gong. And Qi actually means energy, or your life energy. And when we have healthy Qi, it's like a flowing river. The water flows, the plant life and the animal life are able to draw on the nutrients that they need. And so the life flourishes. But when the water starts to stagnate, the plant life and the animal life aren't able to get the nutrients that they need. And that's the same with our body's ecosystem. If we're healthy and our Qi is balanced, we're able to draw the nutrients that we need so that we can keep going. But we also, sometimes when we get too busy, we start to see signs, and our bodies are so intelligent and they're trying to tell us what's actually going on. So you might see things like aches and pains or your digestion not being quite right. And that to me is a sign that your Qi is not flowing so well. And so when we talk about the word Gong, Qi Gong, Gong actually means to cultivate a practice. And when we cultivate our own energy, we can create harmony in the body and mind. The difference with Tai Chi and Qigong is Qigong there's the difference in the intent. So our intent is to actually move energy throughout the body to help the body process different energies or emotions, both physical and emotional. And what it can do is, when through movement, it allows us to focus on the movement and the body itself so that the mind can start to quieten.
Right.
And so what Tai Chi is, it's more fluid, and there's one movement that flows into the next movement. And what you'll find often in a Tai Chi class is that you'll start with Qi Gong to quieten the mind, and then you'll go into these lovely flowing movements to sort of move the energy throughout the body.
That's beautiful. So quietening the mind and moving the body.
Yeah.
I think those are both things that we could really do with a lot more of, especially in the times that we're in at the moment. We spend so much time in our modern lives. I've spent sitting in front of some sort of a screen, so a phone, a computer, television, and we're using our minds all the time. We never stop thinking. it's always, whether it's work or we're worried about what's going on with our family or money or so many things, that our minds are always on the go, but our bodies get stuck in one place, in one chair without moving. And I guess from what you're saying, that's a little bit the opposite of where we want to be.
Pretty much. And so what we believe, and what I believe in Qi Gong, is that we operate in this world, we're very much up here, you know, we're very much in our heads, and there's this disconnect between our body. And so when you go to a practice like Qi Gong, or you do yoga, or even, you know, you go out for a walk in the mountains, you're actually trying to re-establish that connection and that balance that your body craves.
Yeah, and that's what I find a lot in my massage practice as well, is that people are so in their heads. And a lot of us live our lives from the neck up. We really do. And a lot of what I do with my massage practice as well is to try and still and quieten the mind. And I find that unless we can train our minds to relax more, then our bodies don't relax either. And that's where we get stiff and sore and tired and full of aches and pains, and all these physical symptoms start to come out because our minds are not at ease.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And there are a lot of students that I do see, and people that I work on one-on-one, who come to me with injuries that they're not able to heal. And that's essentially how I started my journey into Qigong. I had a shoulder injury that I couldn't find a way to heal it. I tried physiotherapy, got doing weights, and I just wasn't able to find an option. And it wasn't until I went to China to learn Qigong that I was actually able to find a way to sort of gently strengthen the body, but actually peel away the emotional layer that was attached to an injury and the aches and pains that I was experiencing.
Yeah, that's right, because you actually went over to China and studied with Chinese masters, didn't you?
I did. It was
must have been the most amazing experience.
It was quite an adventure, actually, and it really made me have to just trust the process and just sort of dive in and keep an open mind to whatever was going to happen was going to happen. And it's really a funny story. I couldn't actually find anyone who could recommend a teacher here in Australia, or who I could learn in with China, and it was just by chance. I found someone on Google, and I literally picked up the phone. I said, "Hello, my name's Angie. I'm from Australia. I need to learn Qigong. Please, can you help me? Are you the right person to talk to?" And he said, "No, I'm not, but I have a phone number for you."
Yeah.
And so it started this chain of phone calls. And by the time I got there, the gentleman said, "Don't worry, I'm going to have it organized for you. When you get here in 3 weeks' time, everything will be done." And I had the best teacher in China when I first learnt, and she taught me all the different foundations of Qigong. And the one thing she always said was, "Why are you concentrating so hard? And why are you always rushing to come and see me? Why are you always rushing and jumping in the cab and then running out when you really just need to, you're on holidays, calm down, it's all good." Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and that's true with life all the time, I think, isn't it? We're always rushing, we're always worrying, and we just don't slow down, and we just don't take that time to center and to ground ourselves. And the thing is, if you do that for too much, then you just end up just completely running out of steam, running out of energy.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, you just can't function anymore. And so that's when we need to find practices such as the massage or the essential oils or something like Qigong that really brings us back into ourselves, helps us to connect with ourselves and connect with the energy of the earth and of the universe as well. And I guess recharge the batteries in a lot of ways.
That's very much right. So in Qigong, we believe that there are 3 main elixir fields. And the main elixir field that we talk about is the lower dantian. And the lower dantian is responsible for our energy. And so when we are running around too much, we don't take enough time for ourselves, even to eat, our energy stores start to get depleted. And if we don't have a way, or we don't have a set of tools for us to access, it becomes really hard for us to maintain our energy levels and not feel tired and not feel overwhelmed by all the things that you need to achieve in your life, in your daily life, really. Yeah.
And the more tired we get, the more we think, oh, I don't have the time, or I don't have the energy to take care of myself. And it just gets into this vicious cycle, doesn't it?
It does, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess one thing that we should tell people is that actually Qi Gong is a very gentle practice.
It is.
Because I know it's easy to get really put off and intimidated by thinking that something has to be really full on or really hardcore. You know, going to the gym, you think, oh no, I just don't have the energy for that at the end of the day. Or the meditation practice takes too much discipline and I'm just too tired. But actually, from what I found from the few sessions that I've been doing recently with you, and I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, I'm so
it's
glad.
really opened my eyes up to something that I haven't tried before. And look, a lot of people know that I have balance issues, so I've tried Tai Chi in the past and struggled and been put off because of my balance. Some of the moves were quite difficult for me, and the same with yoga for flexibility. But I found that Qi Gong is something that's actually seems to be, it's accessible for people, whatever their physical capabilities are, that they can still do the practice.
That's exactly right. And you know, the students that I work with students of all levels and all sorts of health conditions. And the beauty of Qigong is that you can actually do it in a chair, or you can actually practice Qigong lying down. And so when you don't have the energy, if you take the time to just to do Qigong breathing, or to make time to do a class, it actually does really help to make you feel more energized, because you're actually getting that mental break that you really need.
That's so true. Just getting that break on its own is enough sometimes.
It is. And it's even sometimes, if you can carve out 2 minutes in your day, it is so good for you.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. It breaks those thought patterns.
It does.
Those destructive thoughts that go round and round in our heads, all those worries and fears and what ifs that we've always got going on. And just having that little practice that you can come back to,
that's right,
that can help break that cycle, then it's so much easier to then go back and actually move forwards more positively and with more energy.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah. So Angie, I know that you're based here in Canberra.
Yes, indeed.
But you also do online courses as well, which is how I've been working with Angie, and they're running by Zoom. And can I tell you, the best thing is that if you're not sure what you're doing, you can turn the camera off on your lounge room, and nobody can see you. So you don't have. So there's none of this going into a classroom and feeling self-conscious about not knowing what to do. And I found that you were explaining everything really, really simply as well, and also explaining what's behind every movement in every part of the practice, which I think that's really important, because that sets the intention.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
So my classes are all online at the moment, because it initially started being face-to-face classes. And my intention when I started learning 10 or so years ago was never to actually teach, and it was really a need to sort of start sharing this practice. And now that we have the technology and COVID, one of the positive sides is that we can connect to people from all over the world, and we can do classes together, and there still is this sense of community that we can create in a virtual setting.
Yeah, and community is so important. Having that connection. So that's really why I love what you're doing here, because as you know, I'm all about sharing and helping people to find ways to improve their own sense of well-being. So if I come across something like this Qi Gong, then I want to share it with the world and help everybody else to learn as well, and so that they can take advantage. And you're quite right about that connection and community. And I know that when we first went into lockdown, it was quite hard for some people.
It was.
Which for me as an introvert, I have to put my hand up and admit my guilty pleasures that I actually kind of like it in some ways, being stuck on my own and not having to go out. But that sense of connection is important, but it's not just connection to other people. We need to be connected to ourselves and connected to the universe as well.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And the wonderful thing about Qigong is, you know, when you practice, you start to center your own energy. And then when you start to center your own energy, your energy can then start to balance out with the universal energy and the energy around you. And so what you're doing is creating this harmonious feeling or space in your home or wherever you are. And that's the wonderful thing about this practice.
And I think that's what we all want, isn't it? Is more balance and harmony in our lives. And if we can all achieve that, then, as you say, we can go out and we can spread that into the world, and we can make the whole world feel better. So, Angie, I can't let you go without asking how people can get in touch with you if they do want to learn more about Qigong. What's the best way to contact you?
So the best way to contact me is either via Facebook, Paneri Wellbeing, or you can find me at www.paneri.com.au. If anyone is interested in learning some classes, they start in a week's time. There's a class on Tuesday, all online, and the second class is a Saturday morning class, which is on the 13th of February, which is the first day of the Chinese Lunar New Year. So it's going to be an amazing class.
What a perfect time to start.
Beautiful energy, and so it's going to be a fabulous time.
So that's paneri.com.au, and that's P-I-N-I-R-I.
That's
Is
correct.
That right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And what does Paneri mean?
Paneri actually means to be well and health. To have health and wellness, actually. It's actually a Yupik word, an Alaskan native word that really resonated with me when I was in Alaska a few years ago.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that you've chosen that. So, for anyone that does want to learn more about Qigong and about creating balance and harmony in their lives, I really strongly recommend that you get in touch with Angie. And I'd like to thank you again for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, lovely Michelle.
And thanks to people watching live and watching the replay. If you do have any comments or questions, then please do put them in the comments. #replay if you're watching later. And thanks for tuning in.